Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about valuations. If you've looked at our website, you'll see it's one of the services that we offer, and we get lots of inquiries about valuations, and we do lots of them. They fall into two categories. There's formal and informal valuations. So what's the difference? Fundamentally, a formal valuation is one where we write a report to substantiate the value that we are giving to the company, individual, or other party. And an informal one is not written. I'll come to those later on. So what sort of formal valuations do we do? Well, they vary. It depends on the individuals and their requirements. But the most common that we do are for marital divorce, business divorce, or internal share sell and purchase. We've also done valuations for probate, as a professional witness in court cases, and mediated values on other settlements. But let's go back to the three most common valuations we do. Marital divorce. If someone is getting divorced and they are putting down on their Form E all of the assets of the marriage, one of those assets would be a business. And it's a requirement to put a value in that Form E that will tell the court and the judge the value of the business. We usually write those sorts of reports as what's known as a single joint expert, and we actually address the report to the court and not to the individuals. Business divorce. Well, it happens. People go into business together and everything's fine, but at some point in the future, one or more parties fall out, and there's a requirement for one or more parties to leave the business. And at that point, therefore, there is a need for a valuation. Those valuations need a formal value and a written report, because the opportunity is for the HMRC to look at the value used to settle any liability on capital gains tax and or other tax situations. So on those ones, we will again write a formal report. And finally, internal share sell and purchase. We get asked to do this more than any other valuation at the moment. And this is where a shareholder is looking to move some of their shares, quite often to a younger member of the team, but not necessarily so. And that person is looking to buy the shares, and there are mitigating factors on the value of the shares they're buying. So that's an internal share sell and purchase. And again, there is a requirement for a value for HMRC to look at what is being paid for shares. The information we require for a formal valuation is the information we would ask of the individuals who come to us, which will give us a lot of background on the business, whether it's a niche company working with a certain niche market, where they're based geographically, the age of the client base. All those sort of demographics will play on the value of a business. And most importantly, there is a differential on the valuation depending on the level of the shareholding. A minority shareholding in a business would have a lower value than a majority shareholding in a business. And there are set rules used by HMRC for discounting values allowing for minority shareholding. Very often, we ask to see things like shareholder agreements, memorandum articles, and other documents for the company to see how those have been written, which might override normal rules on discounts for minority shareholding. If no documents exist, then there can be arguments about the implications of not having protection, say, for a minority shareholder. So those are formal valuations, and let's say we do lots of those, around 2 or 3, some months or only one. It varies, but we do get asked for those on a regular basis. So what are informal valuations? Well, those are the ones where someone phones up and says, I don't know what my business is worth. I might be interested in selling, but I don't know what my business is worth. Well, in that case, you don't need a written report. You don't want to pay for a written report. And I'm very happy to chat through, ask some questions in confidence. I will even sign an NDA with the person before we even go any further if they want. But then I'm able, by asking questions, to give them a very sensible ballpark figure of what the business would achieve if it was sold. When we have those discussions, people will say, oh, didn't think it was that much, or I was hoping for a little bit more, let me think about it. We put no pressure on anybody. If someone wants to phone me and ask me what the value of their business is, I'm happy to do so. We get emails and calls about that all the time. And again, much easier to do over the phone, have a chat, then give an answer. From my point of view, as an ex-IFA myself, I will not overvalue the business just so that I get someone interested in selling and then come back to them later on and turn around and say, oh, sorry, couldn't get that figure, we can only get this. Because I don't believe that's a fair way of treating people. I will tell someone honestly what they will achieve and then will endeavour to better that figure if they do decide to go ahead and sell in the marketplace. So that's valuations, both formal and informal. If it's something you would be interested in, please let us know. In a minute, there's a slide comes up, it's got contact details. Feel free to email or call me, either at the office or on the mobile, and I will get back to you. We can have a chat about it. Many thanks. Any questions, get in touch. Bye.